shadowed depths of Athel Loren, where ancient oaks whisper forgotten secrets older than any empire, and elves glide eternally in perfect harmony with vengeful spirits of the wild. We stand before a magnificent illuminated manuscript, a grand and living epic tapestry that pulses with emerald light and shimmering golden runes. This single breathtaking artwork captures the complete and tragic saga of the Wood Elves, the Asrai, from their proud and defiant origins in the dawn of the world, all the way to their sorrowful extinction amid fire and shadow. Today, we will walk slowly through every glowing panel of this chronicle, letting the mist and magic guide us. We will witness their ancient and fateful separation from the proud High Elves of Ulthuan, the forging of their wild and free society deep within the primordial heart of the forest, the sacred pact they sealed with the ancient tree spirits themselves, the rise of their immortal lords and legendary heroes, the countless desperate battles they waged to protect their sacred home, and finally, the apocalyptic destruction that even the eternal woods could not survive. This is far more than just another tale of elven pride or distant glory. It is a profound and timeless story of true harmony with untamed nature, of primal fury and savage beauty unleashed, of eternal cycles of death and glorious rebirth, and of a loss so heartbreaking it still echoes across the broken ruins of the old world. Later in this video, we will also break down the legendary army of Athel Loren, their graceful yet terrifying units, immortal heroes, and deadly guerrilla tactics that allowed them to defy the greatest threats in Warhammer fantasy for thousands of years. If you're a fan of rich, immersive Warhammer fantasy lore and epic storytelling, do me a favor right now and smash that like button while you're here. Then subscribe with notifications turned on so you never miss future deep dives into the old world. With that said, the leaves are rustling, the ancient trees are watching, and the mist is parting. Let us turn the very first page of this living tapestry and begin our journey. Long before the Warhammer world knew the name Asrai, the elves arrived upon this mortal plane as the chosen servants and creations of the enigmatic Old Ones themselves, godlike beings from beyond the stars who reshaped the very fabric of reality. These ancient architects seeded the world with life, raised continents from the oceans, and gifted the elves with immortality, unparalleled grace, and mastery over the winds of magic. From their glorious island kingdom of Ulthuan, a radiant realm of towering spires, crystal cities, and endless sapphire seas, the elves spread across the globe like a golden dawn. They founded magnificent colonies in distant lands, raised wonders that rivaled the heavens, and shaped civilizations of breathtaking beauty. From the marble halls of ancient cities to the arcane academies where sorcery flowed as freely as rivers. But then came the sundering, the cataclysmic civil war that tore elvenkind apart like a blade through silk and shattered their once unified race forever. It began in the shadowed court of Naggareth, where the ambitious Prince Malekith, son of the legendary Anarion, grew jealous of his father's legacy and the Phoenix throne. Fueled by the dark sorceries of his mother Marathi, Malekith's betrayal plunged the entire elven race into an abyss of blood and flame. Brother fought brother in apocalyptic battles that scorched the earth and stained the seas red. Entire cities burned, ancient alliances crumbled. In the end, the traitors, now forever known as the Dark Elves, the Dryads, were cast out, fleeing in black-sailed fleets to the frozen, nightmare-haunted wastes of
Naggaroth, where they would nurse their eternal hatred. Many of the surviving elves in the old world, weary of endless conflict and longing for the safety of their ancestral homeland, chose to sail back to Ulthuan and the eternal glory of the High Elves, the proud Asur, rebuilding their lives beneath the protective gaze of the Phoenix King. Yet a proud and wild-hearted faction felt a far deeper, more primal calling echoing through their souls. They heard the ancient, irresistible song of Athel Loren, the wood of the dawning of the world, a primordial forest planted by the Old Ones in the very earliest days of creation, when the world was still young and the trees themselves remembered the stars. This was no ordinary woodland. Its roots drank magic from the earth, its leaves whispered forgotten secrets, and its heart beat with a living, untamed power that no civilized realm could match. Rejecting the glittering towers, the rigid hierarchies, and the cold, polished traditions of their Asur kin, these elves turned their backs on civilization entirely. They cast aside their fine silks and golden armor, embracing instead the primal soul of the forest. The raw wind in the leaves, the moss beneath their feet, the eternal cycle of growth and decay. While their high elf brothers sailed home to eternal glory or dark exile, these sylvan figures simply vanished into the mist-shrouded trees, their forms melting seamlessly into the emerald shadows, as though the forest itself had claimed them. And so the Wood Elves were born, the Asrai, a fierce and free people who would guard the ancient woods with bow, spear, and the living fury of nature itself, bound forever to the wild heart of Athel Loren.
Deep within the living, breathing heart of Athel Loren, the Wood Elves forged a society unlike any other in the known world. A vibrant, ever-changing civilization woven directly into the fabric of the primordial forest itself. Here, there were no cold marble halls or rigid stone citadels like those of their high elf kin in distant Ulthuan. Instead, the Asrai raised their entire realm from the very bodies of colossal ancient oaks that had stood sentinel since the dawn of creation. Trees so immense their trunks dwarfed the greatest towers of men, and their roots drank deeply from the magic-soaked earth. Vibrant woodland cities sprawled in breathtaking harmony across the forest floor and high into the emerald canopy above. Graceful treetop halls spiraled upward through the branches, connected by swaying vine bridges adorned with glowing blossoms and shimmering runes that pulsed like living veins. Soft emerald light filtered through leaves that never fully fell, bathing elegant chambers, feasting glades, and sacred clearings in an eternal twilight glow. Time itself behaved strangely beneath the forest's ancient will. Days could stretch into what felt like months. Seasons danced in gentle, hypnotic cycles, and the very air hummed with a quiet, protective magic that kept outsiders forever lost among the shifting paths. The Asrai lived wild and free, attuned to the eternal rhythms of nature above all else. They moved with the grace of wind through leaves and the ferocity of a summer storm, revering every root, branch, and creature as part of one vast, interconnected whole. Isolationist by deep and ancient conviction, they rarely stepped beyond their sacred glades unless the forest itself whispered warnings of danger or the horns of war called them forth. In these hidden realms, the line between elf and forest spirit had already begun to blur forever. Dryads danced among the boughs alongside elven maidens. Tree spirits watched protectively over gatherings, and the very air carried the laughter of both. Here, in this living masterpiece of the Tapestry's center-left panel, you can see the iconic warriors who defined the Wood Elves for millennia. The graceful Glade Guard archers cloaked in living leaves and bark-woven armor, their longbows strung with enchanted vines. The stoic, eternal guard standing sentinel like trees given form. The lethal Way Watchers who melted into the canopy shadows until they became invisible. The spinning war dancers performing sacred, deadly rituals of combat and grace. The lightning-swift wild riders thundering through the glades on steeds blessed by the god Kernus, and the mystical spellweavers who channeled the raw, untamed magic of the woods itself. Elves and forest spirits blended seamlessly as one. Green-cloaked archers standing shoulder to root with Dryads and tree spirits in perfect, unbreakable unity. In the emerald embrace of Athel Loren, the Wood Elves had finally discovered their true destiny, a realm every bit as fierce, wild, free, and breathtakingly beautiful as the proud, untamed people who called it home. But the true masters of Athel Loren were never the elves alone. Long before the first Asrai ever stepped beneath its emerald canopy, this primordial forest already pulsed with ancient and formidable guardians. The tree spirits, beings of raw elemental power created by the Old Ones themselves during the dawn of the world, when magic still flowed wild and untamed across the land. In the bottom left panel of our grand illuminated tapestry, we behold one of the most sacred and defining moments in Wood Elf history. From the moss-laden forest floor and the gnarled roots of the oldest oaks, the iconic tree spirits rise in majestic emergence. Towering above all are the ancient Treemen, colossal living monuments of bark, branch, and inexorable strength, their eyes glowing with the wisdom of millennia. Around them swirl the ethereal Dryads, seductive forest nymphs of breathtaking beauty, who can transform in the blink of an eye into savage, thorn-clad warriors of terrifying fury. Leading these hosts are the spectral Branchwraiths, ghostly sovereigns of the Dryad kindred, their forms flickering between solid wood and swirling green mist as they command the wild spirits with silent authority. The Wood Elves stand before them in poses of deep reverence, many kneeling among the roots, heads bowed in awe and respect, hands outstretched in supplication as the forest itself seems to hold its breath. For it was here, in the earliest days of Athel Loren, that the sacred Pact was solemnly forged. The Asrai vowed with their immortal souls to defend the forest against all invaders, despoilers, and corruptors with their lives, if necessary. In exchange, the ancient spirits offered their eternal alliance, their overwhelming natural power, and a profound bond that granted the elves a form of immortality linked forever to the very life force of the woods. This sacred covenant, first negotiated by the greatest of the Treemen ancients, such as the legendary Durthu and others like him, fused elf and forest spirit into a single, unbreakable destiny. The elves gained the raw fury and resilience of nature itself, the ability to call upon the forest as both shield and weapon. The spirits, in turn, found fierce, swift-footed champions willing to carry their wrath beyond the deepest glades and into the wider world. From that day forward, elf and tree spirit would live, fight, and bleed as one. The forest had awakened, and the Wood Elves had gained the most powerful and dangerous allies the old world would ever know. Center right panel of our grand illuminated tapestry bathed in soft mist and golden shafts of dappled sunlight breaking through the ancient canopy, we come face to face with the immortal monarchs and legendary lords who have ruled and defended Athel Loren for untold centuries. Here they stand heroically upon a sacred misty glade, larger than life, their forms glowing with divine power as if the forest itself has stepped forward to honor its greatest champions. At the forefront towers Orion the Wild Hunter, avatar of the god Cernus himself, clad in savage furs and crowned with a magnificent antlered helm that seems grown from living bone and vine. In one mighty hand he grips his legendary spear, its tip shimmering with the raw fury of the wild hunt. Each midwinter, Orion willingly burns away in ritual flames atop the sacred oak of ages, his essence consumed by fire and sorrow, only to be reborn every spring in a thunderous explosion of life, leading his frenzied riders across the glades in an unstoppable storm of primal vengeance. He is the living embodiment of the hunt, the savage heartbeat of the wild. Beside him shines Ariel the Mage Queen, avatar of the goddess Aisha, radiant beyond words in flowing robes woven from moonlight, spider silk, and living blossoms. Swirling around her is an aura of pure nature magic, emerald vines twisting through the air, glowing petals drifting on unseen winds, and the gentle yet unstoppable power of renewal and healing. She sleeps for long seasons within the heart of the oak of ages, her dreams sustaining the entire forest, only to awaken when Athel Loren itself cries out in need. Her presence alone can mend shattered boughs, restore withered glades, and breathe life back into the dying woods. Looming protectively behind them both is the ancient Treemen Durthu, a colossal living monument of gnarled bark, twisting roots, and inexorable strength. His eyes burn with the wisdom and fury of ages long forgotten, branches the size of siege engines ready to crush any foe who dares threaten the Pact. Durthu was already ancient when the first elves entered Athel Loren, and his voice is the deep rumble of the earth itself, sometimes clashing with Orion's wild ferocity, yet always united in the defense of their shared realm. Joining these eternal sovereigns in dynamic, battle-ready poses are other legendary heroes of the Wood Elves, each one foreshadowing their vital role in the centuries to come. The prophetic Nyeth, the prophetess, eyes glowing with visions of fate. The vengeful Araloth, blade drawn and cloak billowing. The deadly sisters of the Thorn riding their serpentine steeds with poison-laced grace. And countless glade lords and spellweavers, bows drawn or staves raised, every figure alive with purpose and power. These immortal rulers perfectly capture the dual heart of the Wood Elves, the savage fury of the eternal hunt and the gentle, miraculous renewal of spring. They are not merely leaders, they are the living soul of Athel Loren made flesh, bark, and magic. In the action-packed bottom right panel of our grand illuminated tapestry, centuries of fierce warfare unfold as the Wood Elves defend Athel Loren with unmatched grace and savagery. Here the artwork bursts with motion, graceful archers loosing volleys from treetop perches, wild riders charging through misty glades, lethal way-watchers striking from shadows, and forest spirits rising in vengeful wrath alongside their elven allies. For thousands of years, the Asrai turned back every threat in a symphony of graceful, merciless violence. They clashed endlessly with rampaging Beastmen hordes, most famously slaying the vile Morga the Corruptor in the Glade of Woe with Durthu's aid. They waged brutal raids against their hated dark elf cousins, even sacking Grond under Orion and Ariel's command. Chaos warbands, orc invaders, and empire armies all suffered the same fate, lured into the woods and torn apart by perfect ambushes and the forest's living fury. The panel's centerpiece captures the legendary Battle of the Great Oak, where vast enemy forces assaulted the sacred heart of Athel Loren, only to be crushed by the united might of elf and spirit. Through it all, the Wood Elves remained undefeated on home ground, true masters of speed, precision, and the wrath of the wild.
The far right panel of our grand illuminated tapestry, the vibrant emerald tones dramatically darken into a hellish inferno of raging flames, blood-red embers, and choking black shadows. The ancient forest that has stood since the dawn of time is now shown burning, its colossal world trees engulfed in unnatural fire as Athel Loren falls under apocalyptic siege. Even the eternal woods could not escape the doom of the end times. As Archaon the Ever-Chosen brought chaos across the world, the long-prophesied Rana Dandra, the final ending of all things, finally arrived. The sacred forest began to wither from within. Queen Ariel was cruelly afflicted by a terrible corrupting poison that seeped into her soul, weakening the heart of Athel Loren and causing the ancient trees to sicken and decay. Beastmen hordes beyond counting poured into the once hidden glades, setting the living realm ablaze. Orion the Wild Hunter fought with unmatched fury far from home, but met his ultimate fate. He was permanently slain by Tyrion wielding the cursed Widowmaker sword, the ancient cycle of winter death and glorious spring rebirth, tragically broken forever. In one last desperate act of defiance, the High Elf Ever-Queen Ariel merged her radiant essence with Ariel's fading spirit. The panel captures the heartbreaking final desperate stand of Orion and Ariel amid roaring flames and falling ash. Mighty world trees collapse in ruin. Elegant treetop halls burn to cinders, and the once mighty realm of Athel Loren is consumed entirely. The proud Asrai make their last heroic defense as the forest itself screams and dies around them. Thus, the Wood Elves' long and proud story reaches its tragic conclusion, not in glorious victory or eternal renewal, but in fire, shadow, and the heartbreaking silence of a dying forest.